But while we were looking, somebody said, you know, there's a lady here in town that sells more Singer sewing machines than anybody on the internet. So I'm going to ask Allison, are you in the room? There you are. Can you come down and join me down here? Allison Slayton has the Singer Sewing Center, Singer Sewing and Backing Center. I'm sorry, let me get that straight. But she also has ICanHelpSew.com.
That's it.
And now your story is really fascinating to me because I'm going to retell just a little bit of it, and you correct me if I get it wrong. Allison appears to be one of those people that she went to MCC and they told her how to do a business on the internet, and she went back to her place and did it. Right? There were probably 50 people in that room, and you went back and did it. So tell us first of all how you decided to go to the internet.
Well, I've been in business 29 years, and I want to say, Tim at TOK, you got to say anything good about any company. That company has supported local business since the day I went in business. That's the first thing I did was start advertising on them, and they have been really good to us. The internet is not all of our business.
Right.
Our local retail is the most important, but the way I started 29 years ago when I started in business, we started with old pedal sewing machines, and just to see technology change from talking about selling treadle belts and clamps to clamp the leather belt together to the things we're talking about today, the drop shipping, the finding a product for the internet is just amazing. But I went through a series of a lot of local. We teach classes, sell sewing machines, and I remember the earlier days, I remember standing there after 18 years of business and going, oh my word, you know, everything's paid for now. I'm so excited, but it took that long retail. But what you're going to be able to do now is start instantly. What took me 18 years to do, and how we came about that was that I always wanted to be in the top of the industry. I always wanted to be a leader. When I go to conventions, I would look around and go, I live in Meridian, Mississippi, and I really can't do a whole lot, grow or be bigger. And I proved myself wrong because we started doing something called road sales. And I came out with an ad that said, school sewing machines, home ec departments have discontinued, and we traveled all over the country through Joanne Fabric up and down the eastern seaboard. We'd open a show in New York or Miami on the same day, run an ad in the Miami Herald or the New York Times, and the ads would cost a fortune. I mean, a very tiny little ad would be $20,000, but it paid off. We sold a ton of machines to that. But a time came where it was really hard for people to keep up with health and machines, and things would just be really hard. You had flat tires, not show up. So I sat on my patio one night, started crying, and my husband said, you can't get out of the road business. There's no way. And so I'm getting in the internet business. It'll be a lot easier. So I started off with a AST computer from Walmart. It's $388. It didn't hold like a tenth of a little jump drive now, and I get so frustrated at night at 2 in the morning. My husband hear me go huffing and puffing and run around the house, and I yank the cord out of the wall. I get so mad on the computer. So when
you learned computer language.
I did.
Do what I told you to.
Right, yeah. And back then they would hang up. You could get 3 pictures on a computer. But what I really want to say to you guys is, I'm just an average person, and if we can do what we've done on the internet, anybody in here can start. And I want to encourage everybody, because you can start with one product today. I mean today, and you can start selling it. You've got basically 2 pieces of real estate on the internet, and that's your paid advertising. Up at the top is the blue box. And I'm going to tell everything simple so everybody will know how to do it, because it's not hard. You go to Google, you set up an account. It just takes a few minutes. And then say your product is, in our business, for instance, I'm going to use an example of handy handles on our website. And I'm going to make a description. Now, it's easier now because you can attach several words to a description, and then that way, back in the old days, their first plan of doing it, which we had to start all over, redo Overture and Google. I don't know if you remember that change
You
they
use
did.
Google AdWords.
The AdWords.
Okay.
But basically, the two pieces of the blue box up the top and down the side, and you pay for that space. But when you pay for that space, you want to look for the words, for instance, handy handles for a quilting machine. Now, we did kind of like the guy with the pedal on that. We went to a trade show, and we were there in Vegas seeing one of the people that worked in the store. And there was a Mennonite farmer that created these handles that you put on a quilt machine, that when you go up and down a quilting bed, that it moves your machine. And that company was kind of like some kind of farmer in the Midwest, and all of a sudden they decided they didn't want to work anymore and you couldn't get the product. So when we were at this show in Vegas, we went to one booth and we saw something made by one company, and we took it over and we put it on another company's product. So we left our handy handles that we couldn't get online, and they were optimized up high by then. And then we would, everybody that would call, we'd say, well, we do have a product. It's two different things. You're using this frame and this handle. We sold probably thousands of those. And I'm kind of jumping ahead. I'll go back to the pay-per-clicks, okay? So anyway, we optimized that one thing. And where quilting may cost you $1 a word, you can find things that cost 10 and 15 cents a word to get clicked on. But you got to be real industrious thinking about your product. And those words would have to do with a quilter that, and your product can be anything. It's just a comparison that wants something handy and fast to move with their quilting, to move it along. And they'll buy them. These carriages maybe cost $300 or $400. And, you know, our profit margin's high on these because everybody in the industry doesn't have them. But there's a lot of things that you don't really make anything on. You have to be the cheapest in the world on your pay-per-click that you sell. You have to be the very cheapest to be able to get any business from them. So if you sell something for $2,000 and you only make, you know, $100 on it, you know, it's just something you have to take in stride. But the other part of this real estate that you really want to get is the earned, the organic, the bottom half. And just in simple words, people click on you, search engines rate you, and you climb to the top.
Right.
And, you know, you could probably type in sewing, I don't know if I'd ever show up, because that's not the way it's done. And that's what everybody here needs, you know, really. People teach you the hard stuff, but they don't teach you the easy stuff. And the easy stuff is, say, if it has to do with sewing, you want to be specific to exactly what you want to sell, and use words that they would type in. And once you get a lot of hits, you rise organically, or Google or Yahoo like you come up. But before that, you can put a product on in your pay-per-clicks. I call them pay-per-clicks, but you pay per time somebody clicks on you, and you start your account and you put a credit card in there. From the very first day we did pay-per-clicks, we rose very, very fast. And but I will say the chat rooms, I know they're fragmented now, but still try to get in them, because one time we had one thing happen that was just outstanding. We had Mary Ann's name, who is the lady's been with me forever, and her name hung up on the front page of the Yahoo chat room, and it was on Brother embroidery machines, and it said, "Call Mary Ann for a great price. She did a real good job for me." And the next thing you know, Brother's going, "Oh my gosh, you've done $1 million with us this year." Well, we were in the other half of Sanders building, and an 18-wheeler would pull up and unload embroidery machines. They're probably 40 pounds, this big. Somebody's job was literally to have the labels ready and go out and stick on these boxes. We had to keep them outside.
You never brought them in the store.
We couldn't get them.
They backed the truck up, and you gave them to UPS or whoever was going to deliver.
We had to wait. Somebody had to
outside
sit
the
out there
store.
and wait outside for UPS to pick them up.
So she literally outgrew you. You were bigger than your business.
Bigger than the business. We couldn't get them in that. But the funniest thing is these products, I mean, the machines were like $2,800, the ones we sold the most of. And our profit margin wasn't huge on them, but by the time, you know, they got their